Hello, my name is Bruce Harrington, and I will be your child's language arts and social studies teacher this year. I'm so glad that your child is in my class, and I'm looking forward to a wonderful year. As crazy as this year will be with masks and social distancing, I hope it to be as quote unquote normal as possible. Let me say a few things about my class. First thing is this year, as in many years past, I will be grading using the standards of Common Core. And this year we're calling that G4E. There's also a video here that will explain more about it, but in essence, homework doesn't count. Not that it isn't something that we need to get done, but homework isn't going to be part of the grade. It's like dance rehearsal, soccer practice, or a music rehearsal. It's something where we use the skills that we've been taught and we practice them before we have an assessment. So it is rather unfair to quote unquote use it as part of the grading rather than just understanding that it is practice. That the assessment will be what is graded based on Common Core standards. Behavior, attitude, absences will all not be part of the overall calculation of the grade. The only criteria for the grading that will be in my room this year, and in many of our rooms, is that standard by which we'll be assessing. Every assignment will have the standard on it and a rubric with exactly what we are looking for and how to achieve the 3. The 3 is the magic number. 2 means you're approaching, 3 means you're barely starting and there's a lot of foundational work that needs to happen. 2 means you're approaching and 3 means you got it. It's very similar to SBAC grading, that 3 is the goal that we want to see. In language arts this year, we will be reading 4 novels. We will be reading The Giver, Red Scarf Girl, March by John Lewis, and then we'll have a unit on graphic novels where it will be done in literature circles where students will get together with other students who are reading similar books, and they will discuss all the aspects of a good short story. Theme, plot, character development, setting, protagonists, antagonists, and maybe rising and falling action. But they'll be discussing this in small groups so they can understand the aspects of what goes into a good short story and be able to compare it with other stories that they've read this year. Each trimester, they will be reading 5 different genres for independent reading. So I've given the assignment out. They should be able to show you exactly the rubric, which I've provided some of it. I'll be providing more as we get closer to the due date. The standards that I'll be looking for, and a list of suggested books that they might be interested in. 5 genres per trimester. I don't really care about the length of the book. My goal is at least 10 pages a night. Some students are vociferous readers, and others are reluctant readers. And the goal is to just become lifelong readers and to read every day for at least 10 pages. The things that they will be assessed on will be theme, text to text, mirror versus window, and we'll explain more of that later, and meaningful passages. So one of the books that they will read, they will have to write 3 or 4 paragraphs explaining how text to text from one book to another. What is the compare and contrast? What do they find similar? What do they find different? Theme. Is there a theme in their book? Does it show up in other literature that they've read? Mirror versus window. This will come very important when we read March by John Lewis, where we'll ask, is the book a mirror to our identity in the world? Or is it a window by which we see somebody else's identity and we can develop some empathy? And then meaningful passage. Is there a passage that really stood out to them that they'd like to explore and explain why that was a meaningful passage? We'll also be doing some writing examples. Will be just some narrative, some expository, and some argumentative along the way. They will learn to cite their sources. They will learn to make a works cited page. And more importantly than ever, I will be assessing students as we go through the year to determine exactly what deficiencies or holes do they have in the education of the past year and a half that we need to shore up, and we need to reteach those skills. I am already seeing that the students they're pleasant, they are willing to learn, they're eager. However, with social emotional skills, they are more like fourth graders than they are sixth graders. That I noticed that there are a lot of, unlike any other year that I've ever taught, they're coming into my class with some maturity levels that are what I have not seen before. And so we need to work as a class and to build up some, to strengthen those norms of being in a class and what is expected when you're in a class. So that is my language arts curriculum, and that will be, if it does not seem like it's nailed down, it's that we as a sixth grade team have decided that it's almost impossible to say where we're going because we don't know where we are. And the school year has just started, and we are still assessing what exactly do the students need. In social studies, which I'm sure your child has told you, social studies is my favorite of all subjects. When I was in middle school, junior high back in the day, Indiana Jones was the end-all be-all, and that's all I wanted to be when I grew up. And here I am, a mild-mannered social studies teacher. We will be studying geography around the world, particularly the places that we will be studying and how the geography influence the cultures that develop. We'll study time and place and understand a timeline with BCE and CE, formerly known as BC and AD, and understand how time is actually a human construct to understand where things happen in chronology. We'll begin with evolution and how the species changed and how everything evolves over a course of time. And we will continue on to Rome. We may not get to the actual fall of Rome, but this is a survey course, so we'll be hitting some of the highlights along the way in ancient civilizations. In Mesopotamia, we'll start talking about the development of the aspects of a civilization. Steady food supply, government, religion, specified labor, and the development of city-states. We'll move on into Egypt and study the pyramids and mummification and how Egypt differed than Mesopotamia. And since both of them are civilizations on a river, how did Mesopotamia develop their civilization on the Tigris and Euphrates versus how the Egyptians developed their civilization on the banks of the Nile? What's similar? What's different? We will then move off to India. Again, the Indus River Valley. How did the Indus River Valley develop it? How is that similar? How is different? How is the religions of those regions different? How are they similar? Then we'll move over to China, and we'll explore some of the dynasties, explore Qin Shi Huangdi and how he unified China, the Great Wall, the terracotta soldiers, the invention of silk, and how China was closed off geographically and culturally from most of the world for part of history. We'll study monotheistic religions of the Middle East, Judaism, Islam, and Christianity, and we'll compare and contrast them and understand how they have impacted the world around us. And hopefully by the spring, we'll get to Greece, understand the birth of democracy and city-states, and of course we have to deal with Sparta and Athens and the great conflict. And if there's a remainder of the year left, we will venture into Rome, or as I like to call it, Greece 2.0, because there's so many similarities, and then we'll compare and contrast what occurred in Rome and what occurred in Greece. The best way to contact me if you need to be in touch is by email, and I will come up with the answer to your questions, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Usually give me about 24 hours. Sometimes I check in with other teachers to see if there's a behavioral issue or an academic issue, and give me an opportunity to compose an answer to you. We are a homeschool partnership, and I look forward to working with you this year. Please don't be strangers. And most importantly, this year, more so than any other year I've taught, social and emotional learning is very important. And I know we as adults have been through a lot in the past 18 months, and I know the students have. Probably the great thing about students is their innocence. They don't know that they've lost it. However, they feel they've lost it. They've missed their friends, they've missed being in school, they've missed the day-to-day routine of being in school and developing skills and attitude and behavior that is best fitting for a classroom. We will be doing social emotional learning. We'll be doing mindfulness. In my class, I use the term is democratic classroom, which means I am the tallest teacher in the class, tallest student, and they are part of the class as well. What are class norms we need to succeed? How are we advocates for ourselves and others? What procedures do we need to have to make this class run smoothly? Everyone will have a job, we'll have meetings once a week or as needed, and we will work together as a team. We're all in the same boat. How do we succeed? How do we help each other? How do we understand that our words can hurt each other and they can help each other? As I said, I look forward to being a homeschool partnership with you, and any way that I can help your child, please let me know. On a final note, if for some reason your child has a difficult day, an emotional day, is struggling with something, please let me know so I can be supportive here at school. Thank you very much, and we're going to have a great year this year.